Welcome to Mega Talk. We're still the talk show in boxing.
Gareth, good to have you on Mega Talk.
Mega Talk. What a name. What a name.
Long
It's
time
great.
no see.
Look, we both lost weight since the last time we were together, I think.
Absolutely. Do you know how long it's been, Gareth?
I reckon it's 5.5 years.
Yeah. To the day, yeah. Next week is 6 years actually.
Really.
Yeah,
On stage together with Anthony Joshua in Brum.
it was absolutely fantastic. I don't know what you remember about the day, but one thing in particular that I remember, they asked me to do the introduction because I was the MC for the night. They asked me to do the introduction, and I got everybody up and railing, and I introduced the heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua. And then I says, cut. No, we can't go out there. He's not ready. And I turned to you and I says, Gareth, they're not ready. I've been told I've got to interview you. He says, yeah, no problem. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. We sat down and we started to talk. And then I asked you a couple of questions. Do you remember? And then I heard was in my earpiece, cut. Anthony Joshua is ready to come out. And we had to cut and we had to go. But what a night.
Yeah, what a night it was. And a very different time for Anthony Joshua then, of course.
Absolutely.
A very, very different time for him in his life. And his life's changed so much since then, hasn't it? You know, I mean, the world was at his feet at the time. He couldn't do a thing wrong. And obviously now his every move is critiqued and viewed, and where is he mentally, all those kind of things. He was almost an innocent at the time. Do you know what I mean? He was world champ already, wasn't he?
Yes,
but he was an innocent, you know?
Yeah. I think
He'd fought Klitschko already in that amazing night in April 2017.
Yeah.
And it had really captured public imagination, hadn't it?
Absolutely. On that night, that's why everything was going so late, because the crowd was absolutely mobbing him. And because it was mobbing him, we couldn't get access to get the show started. It was a fantastic night. 700 people there for that meal, sit-down meal at the National Indoor Arena. What good days they were. And as I said, you look in good shape, mate.
Well, I've lost a little bit of weight. You sent me a video of us that you should play out on this interview.
Okay.
You're a big guy anyway. You're probably kind of 6'3", 18 stone. That kind of you're big, aren't you? You know.
I was 18. I'm about 20 stone now.
You're 20 now, yeah. What? Well, I mean, but you're a big guy anyway. No, I'm probably about 12 and a half now. I've lost about 3 stone since that night. You probably see it on my face. It's gone, but no, I've had a few health issues. I'm a bit older, and I've had to get fit. In lockdown, I did a lot of cycling and paddle boarding, and it's an addiction now. You know, a little bit of gym work, a little bit of skipping. Just really staying on top of things, eating really well, and obviously very busy with the fight world, boxing and MMA.
Apart from Eddie Hearn, who's busier to answer you and Eddie Hearn in boxing?
Oh no, I think everyone is. Listen, Eddie Hearn is busy on a completely different level, as are all the boxing YouTube channels right now, as are Top Rank. I'm doing a bit of work for them in New York next week with the Josh Taylor-Teofimo Lopez fight. Boxing goes in peaks and troughs. It can be incredibly busy at times, and quiet at other times when we end up discussing all the issues that are in boxing, whether that be, should Lawrence Okolie have been disqualified last weekend for all the holding? Are there too many belts in boxing? Should Devin Haney and Vasyl Lomachenko rematch, which I think they should? There's so many issues in boxing to discuss when things go quiet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I called you last week, I was watching you in the ring. I actually found you after the event. I was watching you in the ring and I was thinking, what's going through Gareth's mind? What was going through Gareth's mind?
The main things that were going through my mind is how Lawrence Okolie felt he was fighting that fight when he was warned about 9 times, multiple times for holding, putting his head in, not punching, not boxing by Marcus McDonnell, and also just to see what he was going through during the fight, and also with Chris Smith, what the moment meant to him, what it meant to him for his dream to come true, to be a world champion in front of his home fans at the Vitality Stadium in Bournemouth. It's always amazing doing a broadcast from outdoors in a football stadium. 10,000, 15,000, 50,000, 70,000. It's always amazing. It's as amazing as any atmosphere in any of the big boxing venues, from Madison Square Garden to Wembley Stadium, to the O2 Arena, to MGM, T-Mobile Arena. It's always amazing because there's this groundswell. People are on the pitch for the first time. The rings on the pitch. It gets dark for the main event. It was an extraordinary night. So really, I'm just looking to ask the questions that I think anyone watching on TV or listening to the broadcast would want asked in that moment, straight away after the fight. And I've got to say, Okolie was magnanimous in defeat.
I agree.
How he comes back from it, whether he set a precedent for referees to get on his case about his smash and grab style, I don't know now. But I think CBS, Chris Smith and Shane McGuigan really exploited his style in the way they fought the fight.
You know, one thing what Lawrence says, you're talking about how graceful he was. After the fight, when he says, look, I've come from McDonald's and become a world champion, I think that was an absolutely brilliant touch from him. Because I do think that people do get him wrong. Sometimes you look on him, you see stern face and you know what his presence is like. But that was showing how humble he can be. And a lot of fighters out there do put on a facade, a face, but really deep down inside are just people.
Absolutely. Look, I think Lawrence is himself. He's grown extraordinarily over the last 3 years. That story about weighing 300 pounds and leaving McDonald's, being inspired by Anthony Joshua, losing 100 pounds in weight at London 2012 in the Olympics when Joshua won the Olympic gold, super heavyweight gold. Lawrence is a story of sacrifice and will to win. He'll come back stronger from the defeat, in my view. He wrote a book during lockdown. He's just grown. He needs to work out what style he's going to fight in, because it is going to be an issue for him going forward. People are going to say in some ways that style's been exposed by Smith. People will probably pick Richard Riakporhe as the favourite against him now. Whether he'll take the rematch straight away against CBS, I don't know. Whether Ben Shalom and Boxer will do that rematch straight away. They might want to put Riakporhe in with Smith now, and then maybe have Lawrence fight the winner. But no, he's an extraordinary story, and he's one that we must celebrate.
Gareth, some of the remarks that people are given to Mega Talk, and I'm going to state a couple of them. What do you think, or what do you say? Okolie is a hugger, not a fighter. When people say you're a lover, not a warer. But he's a hugger, not a fighter.
He's a hugger with a massive punch, a big jab, and a massive right hand. He's also got a slightly vulnerable aspects to him. Obviously, he was put down genuinely once in the fight by Smith's left hook. I thought a couple of the knockdowns were kind of slightly dubious, but they were knockdowns. His gloves touched the canvas, certainly on one of them. No, he is a hugger, yeah. He's a hugger with a massive punch. He's a weird style. He's always had a weird style. That 85-inch wingspan he's got, it's just what's developed for him. He only came into the pro game with 30 amateur fights. But look how well he's done.
He's done fantastically. One of the other statements is, I felt sorry for the ref. And I know I heard one of your interviews. I think it was in TalkSport. You says exactly the same thing. I think everybody watching says the same thing. But I think if the referee had come in any sooner, that people would have been against the referee. So I think the referee had come in at the right time. Probably a round or two, a bit too late, but he did come in.
Yeah, look, I spoke to Marcus McDonnell after the fight. At the time, I was obviously involved in commentating on the live broadcast and was very taken by the fight and how intriguing it was and how weird it was. 2 disqualification points, 3 points for knockdowns. Okolie winning some of the rounds. You know, Billum Smith getting through some of those rounds and having periods of ascendancy himself. Weird scoring on the cards. I said to Marcus afterwards, I thought he did a great job of keeping the fight alive, even though there were multiple warnings about holding. But then I watched the fight. I needed to watch the fight back on Sunday and watched it back. And you know what? By about round 7, my feeling was should have disqualified him. Should have disqualified him. Yeah. I mean, I've told this story before. But you go back 23 years, I think it is, when Lennox Lewis was fighting Henry Akin one day, and the great Mills Lane, the great referee Mills Lane, he wouldn't stand for it. 5 rounds he gave back in one day. He didn't want to fight that night, and he disqualified him for not fighting. That's probably right.
Yeah.
But the reason, to give Marcus McDonald's reason, you can understand why he didn't want to end the fight in that way, because
the world
title, fans there wanted to see it through to completion. It was a much better outcome for Billum Smith that he had the points read out at the end and he was ahead on points after 12 rounds. So all of those factors, you can see why Marcus McDonald perhaps wanted to keep the fight going.
You know what Mills Lane would have said, don't you? You guys are in one heck of a fight. Cut out that nonsense. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on.
You know that he died sadly just a few months ago as well, didn't he, Mills Lane? The latter part of last year. Shame. Great referee, though.
Amazing guy. Stand-up guy. I think ex-Marine, wasn't he, or something, Mills?
He was a judge as well. A judge.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the fight tonight, then, with Claressa Sheilds? I can't pronounce this other girl's name.
Cornejo.
I've tried, and somebody commented, you don't even know how to pronounce her name. So instead of me messing her name up, I'll make you pronounce it.
Well, it's a late opponent for Daniels, isn't it? Who's not fighting. So Claressa Sheilds, I think, is unmatched in women's boxing. It wouldn't surprise me to see her become undisputed against HH Diva. Franchon Cruz de Zone, obviously, who's fighting Savannah Marshall in early July over here, Manchester.
Yeah.
I'll be at that working for TalkSport. Claressa's amazing. I can't see her getting beaten. She's just too clever, too skillful. I think she'll become a world champion in mixed martial arts as well in the Professional Fighters League. Yeah. I think she wins it tonight. I think she wins it convincingly on points or even by late stoppage.
Here's one for you, Gareth. Going back to Savannah Marshall, I don't think she fought the right fight.
No, I agree.
And I don't know. She smothered her work a lot, and I think that if she can sort those things out, what have gone wrong, because we know that Savannah can fight a lot better than that. I think the part 2 will be much more interesting and much closer than what the part 1 was. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. She's got to change her tactics. Peter Fury's a great tactician anyway. There's a great elision between Savannah and John and Peter. Mixing the Furies up there. But no, I think she's got to fight a different fight. She's got to let Claressa come on a little bit more. I agree, she did smother her work. Yeah. Claressa had an amazing night though. And I think what Savannah needs to do, I think she was looking for power over boxing ability.
Absolutely.
She's got great boxing ability. And her timing was off on the night as well. But it was you can't take anything away from Claressa on the night.
Absolutely. Okay, Taylor versus Lopez. Gareth, I don't know if you can decipher this one, but I can't decipher this one.
Oh, it's a pick'em. It's a 50-50. I don't know when this is going out, but I'm heading over to New York on the Monday of fight week, doing a bit of work out there, doing a few different things actually, going on the Ariel Helwani show, preparing for a new show that I'm about to do for Boxing Social starting a week on Tuesday called Fight Club with Gareth A. Davies. Delighted to be doing that with Boxing Social, a new weekly video show, if you like, TV style show. It's going to rock and roll. It's going to all be about sipping tequila, in-depth interviews. No, right, decipher Teofimo Lopez against Josh Taylor. I think it's a pick'em. I think either man could win this fight. It's a dangerous fight for Josh Taylor. Both have got a lot to prove after their last performances.
Yes.
I think Josh Taylor has the pure boxing ability to outbox Teo. Teo's a very dangerous fighter early on in a fight, can get ascendancy very easily. I can see both of them winning. I can see both of them losing, obviously. I'm picking Taylor on points, but it wouldn't surprise me if he suffered the first defeat of his career. Lopez is aggressive. He likes to fight in the pocket. Sometimes he overcommits. That will play into Taylor's hands. Taylor, again, loves to engage at close quarters, can have amazing timing as well. How Taylor makes the weight will be very important. Lopez will be strong at the weight. He's coming up. I've just done a show with them both. I'm getting called to do something in a minute, but Taylor's how he makes the weight with Joe McNally is really important in New York. He's been out there 2 weeks. Teofimo Lopez, I think, is going to be very strong at the weight. I did a show for ESPN and Top Rank with them both called Trash Talk. That's coming out next week. Watch out for it. Wow, they do not like each other. It's going to be a fiery, attritional, explosive fight week in New York. Cannot wait to be there.
And I end by just saying, Gareth, thanks for the work that you've done. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming on my show, Mega Talk. It was short notice, and last week when I got 30,000 hits,
Brilliant.
Lawrence Okolie, I'm like, I've got to get you on, so like, thank you, and I hope that we can do something like this again in the near future.
Absolutely. You just tap me up and I'm coming on.
Thank you very much, Gareth.
Cheers, handsome.